Imagine walking into a boxing ring, right? But instead of facing just one opponent, you're facing like a heavyweight champion.
Right, which is already a terrifying position to be in.
Yeah, exactly. You know it's going to be brutal, but at least the rules are clear. But now, imagine that while you're focused on blocking the champion's punches, someone in the audience just releases a swarm of invisible hornets into the ring.
Oh, wow.
You can try to brace for the heavy hits, but I mean, how do you fight off a cloud of venomous stings that you can't even see? Like, they're coming from every direction at once.
You really can't. And that perfectly captures the reality of what it means to be, well, an online whistleblower today. It's never just a straightforward fight.
No, it's not.
It's this grueling, asymmetrical two-front war.
Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're taking you into a really fascinating and, frankly, incredibly messy online battlefield.
Very messy.
Our mission today is to explore exactly what happens when a YouTube creator decides to go after some very powerful multi-level marketing companies, or MLMs.
Yeah, we're looking at the intense retaliation, both the formal legal maneuvers and the deeply personal shadow campaigns that inevitably follow something like this.
Right. And to map out this battlefield for you, we are pulling from a very specific stack of sources.
So we've got court documents, we've got a deeply researched 2024 Bloomberg article by Alice Cantor, and we're also pulling from deep dive reviews on Building Fortunes Radio and MLM News.
And we also have this, frankly, bizarre collection of highly aggressive anti-fan or like troll websites. And these specifically target a YouTuber named Marco Moukhaiber, who goes by Always Marco online.
Now, before we go any further, we need to make something very, very clear to you.
Yes, please.
The sources we are looking at today, especially those troll websites, they contain massive, highly charged personal accusations.
Like severe defamatory statements.
Exactly. We are strictly reporting on what the source material claims just to illustrate the mechanics of this online war.
We are absolutely not taking sides here.
Right. We are not verifying these wild claims, and we are certainly not endorsing the viewpoints of these highly biased attack sites. We're just examining the anatomy of the conflict from a neutral standpoint.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before we look at all these chaotic troll campaigns, we have to understand how Marco Moukhaiber even got on the radar of these MLM giants to begin with.
Right. Who is this guy?
Exactly. According to the Bloomberg article, Marco is a former concert promoter. He was operating out of Edmonton, Alberta, and he basically pivoted to become a YouTube vigilante.
Yeah, and by the summer of 2020, he had built up a following of about 93,000 people just by exposing MLMs.
Which is a pretty solid audience.
It is. But we also need to look at this from the perspective of the MLM companies for a second, based on the reviews from Building Fortunes Radio and MLM News.
Right, because they have a very different take on this.
Exactly. From their viewpoint, they are operating legitimate legal business models. They provide income opportunities for thousands of people.
Yeah, and they're just entirely exhausted by what they view as abusive online trolls.
Right. People making baseless, defamatory statements about their companies and, the everyday people who participate in them.
Which is a valid perspective to examine.
The companies argue that if a creator has factual, specific issues with a product, they should call it out. But when that criticism crosses the line into personal attacks...
Or character assassination.
Yeah, character assassination and blanket accusations of fraud without any legal proof, well, that is punishable by law.
They don't see their lawsuits as bullying. They see them as necessary defense mechanism.
Exactly. Defense against bad faith actors who are just trying to generate sensationalist clicks, at the expense of a brand's hard-earned equity.
Right. So Marco is looking into these massive organizations, and predictably, he's already receiving cease and desist letters.
Yep.
But then his audience started directing him toward a new target, which was IM Academy.
Oh, yeah. IM Academy is a major player. The Bloomberg piece notes it was dubbed the Harvard of Trading.
Harvard of Trading. Wow.
Yeah, their pitch was largely focused on teaching people how to trade Forex and cryptocurrency.
But Marco focused his criticism on their aggressive recruitment tactics, right?
Exactly. He alleged they were making unsubstantiated wealth claims, specifically targeting teenagers and young adults, promising this lifestyle of luxury that very few actually achieve.
So Marco decides to go undercover. He spends weeks doing research, he pretends to be interested in joining, and he secretly records an IM Academy recruiter giving him the pitch.
And then, in February 2021, he drops the hammer.
He drops a 40-minute YouTube video titled Infiltrating a Pyramid Scheme, IM Academy.
And the impact was explosive. Bloomberg reports that within just a few days, the video had clocked 590,000 views.
Which is huge. When you put a hidden camera video out there that directly contradicts a company's carefully curated public image, it acts as this massive lightning rod.
Oh, absolutely. And the response from IM Academy was just as explosive. The company and its founder, Terry, struck back with a defamation lawsuit right there in Alberta.
And this brings us to a really harsh reality. Marco is just an independent YouTuber. He couldn't afford a drawn-out legal fight against a massive corporate entity.
Not many people could.
Right, so he settled. He agreed to stop making videos about IM Academy.
Which, looks like a complete victory for the corporation on paper.
Yeah.
They got the injunction. They silenced the critic.
Yeah.
But this is where the concept of a Pyrrhic victory comes into play.
Right, a win that takes such a devastating toll on the victor that it's essentially a defeat.
Exactly. Legally, they won.
Right.
But Bloomberg specifically notes that despite the settlement, the damage to IM Academy's reputation was already done.
Because the video already reached 500,000 people.
Yeah. Suddenly, videos were circulating from former IM subscribers all over the internet, denouncing the harm they felt the company had inflicted. The dam had basically burst.
It's like trying to put smoke back into a bottle. You can cap the bottle, but the room is already full of smoke.
That's a great way to put it.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This settlement wasn't the end of Marco's crusade. It seems like it was just the blueprint for corporate retaliation.
Because when he aimed at his next target, things escalated. The consequences spilled completely out of the courtroom and into his day-to-day reality.
Right, so let's get into that. Marco was hit with another highly costly defamation lawsuit.
And this time, it was from Primerica.
The massive MLM insurance company, formerly known as A.L. Williams, right?
Exactly. They were targeting him over what they alleged were his defamatory scam claims. And he was also sued by the widow of Market America's founder.
Wow, so he's just getting hit from all sides.
Yeah, the pressure was immense. It's like sitting at a high-stakes poker table where your opponent has an infinite stack of chips.
It doesn't even matter if you think you have the winning hand. The corporation can just keep raising the bet until you literally can't afford to stay in the game. You're forced to fold.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, in the legal world, this is a recognized strategy known as legal attrition.
Right, and Marco is quoted in the sources stating that the process is the punishment.
The goal isn't always to get to a judge and win a verdict. The goal is the process itself. They bury you in discovery requests and procedural motions until you surrender or, run.
Which is exactly what happened. According to our sources, that immense pressure reached a boiling point. In late 2023 or early 2024, Marco actually fled Canada for Thailand.
Yeah, to escape the overwhelming legal bills and what he claimed was ongoing harassment.
But the sources provide some interesting kind of conflicting narratives about his time abroad because he did eventually come back to Canada.
Right, and some of the sources surmise that he fled Thailand to get away from the Ladyboy community over there.
Which is a pretty wild rumor to find in the stacks.
It really is. But other sources point out a much more grounded practical reason for his return.
Which is what?
The Canadian courts demanded his physical presence.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, you can't just ignore a lawsuit by leaving the country. Eventually, the legal procedures require you to actually show up in person.
But the problem with lawsuits, even for massive companies, is that they are highly public and incredibly expensive. If someone wanted to destroy a critic cheaply, anonymously, and with zero rules of engagement, a lawsuit wouldn't be the tool of choice.
No, it wouldn't. And that is why we see this shadow war happening alongside the legal battles.
The invisible hornets in the boxing ring?
Exactly. While the lawsuits were the formal attempt to silence him, our sources reveal a really aggressive, coordinated network of troll websites.
And these are designed for pure, unadulterated character assassination. Like, looking through the stack of sources, the sheer volume of these sites is staggering.
It's intense. We are talking about custom domains like marcomoukhaiber.gay, always marco.lol.
And a site simply called Surprise. Surprise.
Yeah. And their tactics go far beyond standard internet trolling. Like, they attempt to mock his anti-MLM stance by bizarrely redefining the acronym MLM.
Right. Instead of multi-level marketing, they claim it means men loving men. And they use this entirely to launch juvenile homophobic taunts at him.
It's completely untethered from reality. And they compile these lists of extreme, unverified accusations.
Like what?
Well, they claim he uploaded a YouTube confession about selling illegal drugs with a friend named Philip, who they allege got arrested.
Wow.
They accuse him of public masturbation. They post alleged perverted voicemails that they claim he left for people.
They just attack every conceivable facet of his life, personal and professional. They mock the size of his tiny apartment in Edmonton.
They dig up his early amateur attempts at stand-up comedy and rap music just to humiliate him.
Oh, man, yeah. They even gleefully highlight a viral video where a Scottish neighbor is yelling at him through the floorboards to go back to your country, simply because he was playing his music too loud.
They've built an entire ecosystem dedicated to hate. They even sell Always Stupid Marco t-shirts.
But they try to give it this veneer of legitimacy, right? On these sites, they actually post videos claiming their attacks are legally protected under fair use criticism.
Which is wildly ironic.
Seriously. Complaining about someone defaming an MLM while running a massive anonymous defamation campaign against them.
Exactly. But there is one quote from these troll sites that really stands out. One of the sites literally boasts, "What we lack in quality, we make up in volume."
So what does this all mean? Like, is this just the modern equivalent of a medieval smear campaign?
This raises an important question, and that quote is basically the Rosetta Stone for understanding this entire strategy. It's a highly calculated tactic known as SEO warfare.
SEO, so search engine optimization warfare.
Yes.
Okay, I get the concept of a smear campaign. Nailing lies to the church door is as old as time. But what confuses me is the SEO aspect.
How so?
Well, how does a junky, poorly designed site called Always Stupid Marco actually manage to outrank a legitimate Bloomberg article on Google? Like, aren't search algorithms smarter than that?
You would think so, but search algorithms aren't actually truth detectors, they're pattern matchers. Yeah. They look for signals of relevance. So let's look at how these trolls exploit that. First, they buy what are called exact match domains. When they register marcomoukhaiber.gay, the algorithm sees the exact search term, his full name, right there in the URL.
Oh, I see. That's a massive relevancy signal to a web crawler.
Exactly. So the algorithm thinks, oh, this must be the definitive source on Marco Moukhaiber. Then they engage in keyword stuffing.
So just packing the site with buzzwords.
Yeah, they pump out dozens of articles, blog posts, audio clips packed with his name alongside shocking keywords like scam, drugs, arrest, perversion.
And then what?
Next, they cross-link all these troll sites to each other. In the eyes of a search engine, if multiple different websites are all linking to the same article, it creates a fake web of authority.
It tricks the algorithm into thinking, this information is highly referenced, therefore it must be important.
Yeah.
That is deeply unsettling. So when an average maybe someone who just heard Marco's name and wants to see his anti-MLM research types his name into a search bar, they don't find the whistleblower.
No, they find a wall of toxic sludge. Because the trolls have manipulated the SEO, those attack sites dominate the first page of search results.
And the average internet user doesn't have the time or the digital literacy to investigate who owns these domains or verify the claims.
They just see a chaotic mess of drug accusations and bizarre behavior. Subconsciously, they associate Marco with criminality and instability, and they just click away.
So his credibility is completely neutralized without a single fact from his original reporting ever being debunked.
Right, the volume literally buries the truth. You don't even have to debate the whistleblower. You just destroy the megaphone they're speaking into.
And you do it with absolute anonymity. The people running these sites are hiding behind proxy servers and fake names.
While the whistleblowers out there operating under their real name, facing real-world legal and financial consequences.
Which brings us back to why this deep dive matters so much to you, no matter what industry you work in or what kind of content you consume.
This isn't just internet drama about a Canadian YouTuber and some multi-level marketing companies.
No, it's a vital cautionary tale about the very mechanics of modern whistleblowing and dissent.
It highlights the terrifying dual threats waiting for anyone who decides to challenge a powerful industry, a wealthy corporation, or an entrenched community.
Right, because on one side, you have the legitimate, formalized legal system. And while companies absolutely have the right to defend their brand from defamation,
As we discussed earlier.
yeah, that system can easily be leveraged as a weapon of financial attrition. The sheer cost of the process becomes the punishment.
While forcing individuals to choose between bankruptcy or silence.
And then on the other side, you have the shadow war. Relentless, weaponized internet trolling designed to exploit search algorithms.
Just assassinating your character and burying your message under a mountain of engineered search results.
It is the heavyweight champion cornering you in the courtroom and those invisible hornets stinging you across the internet.
It creates an ecosystem where speaking out, regardless of whether your claims are perfectly accurate or entirely flawed, it requires an almost irrational level of endurance and financial backing.
It heavily tilts the scales in favor of whoever has the most resources and the fewest ethical boundaries.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over today.
We're moving further into a digital era where anyone with a few dollars can build a network of websites to destroy a reputation.
And where powerful entities can legally bleed you dry through endless court filings.
So if the systems designed to organize our information can be so easily manipulated, how will society actually protect the truth?
If the cost of exposing a potential scam is losing your savings to lawyers and your sanity to a swarm of anonymous trolls.
Who is going to be brave enough to step into the ring next?